Welcome to Moose Plays, everyone. I'm the Liquor Moose, and today we will be going over my finals battle for the second season of the UPA D-League. For the finals, we will be going up against CMR, coach of the San Antonio Spores. And yeah, this is it. This is the big time. This is finals. Both myself and CMR worked our asses off to get into finals. CMR more so because he inherited a 2-5 team and got to this point, but I still felt like I needed to work my ass off to clinch playoffs, to beat Blitz and then beat Bird and then get to here, and oh man, it's here. It's hype time. It's time to just, like, for both of us to just whip our dicks on the table and just go nuts. So yeah, so that's it about that. So if you want to know more about the team that I am bringing, I did upload a team builder. There will be a link in the description below. But for just a quick overview, we have a fly named Z, kind of like, it's like just a fly named Z utility Tornadus with U-turn, Hurricane, Taunt, and oh my goodness, what's the other move? Oh, Icy Wind, right. We have a physically defensive, sort of speedy Skarmory. We have a sub Baton Pass, Jolteon. We have a Power Up Punch, Lumberry, Azumarill. We have a 4-attacks Megaane and a Choice Scarf Diggersby. Looking at what CMR brought to the table, he brought the Mega Medicham, the Moltres, the Tapu Koko, the Uxie, the Porygon 2, and the Alolan Muck. I am quite surprised there's no Garchomp here, considering that he didn't bring it last time and I thought it matched up relatively well against me, but it wasn't there. I'm very surprised the Mega Medicham was there. I definitely expected Garchomp over it. Moltres I'm not too surprised of, Uxie I'm not too surprised of. I'm a little surprised with the Porygon 2 because usually that's set up Gallade fodder, and then the Muck was also pretty obvious. It was like one of his best things to take Hurricanes from Torn. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, but looking at the lead matchup, I'm still leading with oh my goodness, I'm still leading with my Jolteon. It's my dedicated lead. I don't really like, it's just if CMR leads Coco, he gets so much momentum on me, so I need to be sure that I sort of stop it. So I decide to lead with my Jolteon here. As you do see, I do go for that, and CMR actually goes for the Porygon 2 lead. So now here, I have to fire off a substitute, because I cannot let this Jolteon get toxic. But as we see here, he fires off a Shadow Ball, and this is huge. This right here is huge. His Shadow Ball does not break my sub. This is huge information for me to play around with this Jolteon. Now, like, my Jolteon does not fear this Porygon 2 at all. So I can just click the Baton Pass button, and here I decide to go, like, I click the Baton Pass button, I decide to go into my Megaane, potentially scare him out, but if not, I can always knock off the Eviolite. As we do see here, he actually goes for Discharge. I'm a little surprised about that play in case I decided to stay in and click Workup, even though I don't have it. But I have shown to bring Workup before, so I'm a little surprised he went for the Discharge there, but either way, my Megaane is in. I'm very free to fire off a knockoff here, as I either get rid of this thing's Eviolite, which means, like, it's not very useful anymore. And not that it's not very useful, but it does its job much less effectively and is much less of a pain in the ass for my team to deal with. Or CMR gives me an item on something that isn't Mega Medicham, because all of his Z users aren't here, so knockoff is very free, and CMR does decide to stay in, so I do get rid of this Eviolite, and CMR does decide to fire off a Shadow Ball here, which does a decent amount. Which, by the way, obviously the Shadow Ball reveal, like, with it not breaking my sub on the Jolteon, it does reveal that it is not special attack invested at all. So, by the way, that means that, like, unless he has Tri-Attack, then he cannot break my sub. So, but obviously, like, words, oh my god, he probably doesn't have it if he went for Shadow Ball onto my Jolteon anyways. So, here, I kind of make a little bit of a misplay, I'm not gonna lie. I clicked Drain Punch here because I wanted to get some HP back, and the knockoff, like, knockoff should be pretty obvious here with the 4 attacks that I have, since I have Drain Punch, Knockoff, Ice Punch, and Earthquake. I clicked Drain Punch here because actually, even if he is no special attack investment, with the special defense drop, Shadow Ball, it either guarantee kills from here, or it's a very high chance for him to kill. So if he stays in and I click Knockoff, if he stays in and I click Knockoff and he just kills me with Shadow Ball, I look rather silly. But what I didn't really account for is that I didn't really think about that CMR has to fear close combat still, so which means that close combat would definitely kill with other Eviolite. So he goes into the Moltres, which is risking the Flame Body burn on my Drain Punch. I really should have knocked off here, but luckily the Flame Body does not trigger, but that was a very risky play on my part. And here I'm going to go into Tornadus because it's the best thing I have to just like generally sponge hits from Moltres, as he fires off a Hurricane and misses, which is really unfortunate. But I mean, like, I can always regenerate that, regenerator it off, not fully. It would have done a little bit under half, but it would have still like healed back quite a bit of HP. So here, excuse me, I'm not really too sure what this Moltres wants to do. So I thought about clicking Hurricane here, but it doesn't deal enough damage to the Moltres. By the way, the damage from the Gallade actually shows that he is max physically defensive Moltres, so that is really important to know. So I know he's like max HP, and Hurricane unfortunately isn't I think it might be a roll to 2-hit KO, I don't remember, but with leftovers it's like much less than my favorite to kill. So either way, like, Jolteon actually looks to be a decent answer to this, because without special attack investment, his Flamethrower can't 2-hit KO me, and I resist Hurricane, so it's actually the best thing I have to switch into it. So if he either switches out, I get momentum on him with U-turn, but either way, I do click U-turn, and he does stay in, and like I said, Jolteon's a relatively safe switch in, as we see that CMR actually fires off a Flamethrower. Like we said, can't kill after leftovers, so I'm very free to fire off a Thunderbolt here. Like I said before, like, it does, yes, grant Porygon a free switch-in, but I'm not worried about Porygon at all anymore, because I can set up a sub and Baton Pass it out, like, for basically free every time the Porygon comes in. So I'm very free to click a Thunderbolt here. CMR goes into the Uxie, and after this reveals that he is actually max Spadef Uxie, so I do anticipate him being the Colbur Berry set he brought last time to deal with my Hydreigon. I thought about setting up a substitute here, but he should know, like, if he tries to get momentum on me with U-turn and I set up a sub in front of his face, CMR, it just looks really bad on CMR. So I definitely think he's going to fire up a Psychic to try to stop me from setting up a sub. So if that's the case, I definitely don't want to waste HP on this for no reason. So I do hard Baton Pass in case he does try to like hard switch out, but he doesn't, so I do switch into my Skarmory, which is very safe. And as we see here, CMR does in fact fire off the Psychic. And here I thought about throwing up a Spike, because that was like my main plan going into this game, but Moltres seems like a very, very good switch into this, especially seeing that it's most likely his Defogger this match. So I am actually going to fire up a Toxic. If CMR does decide to stay in, then getting Toxic on Uxie is always good as well. But like we do see here, he does elect to click the U-turn button, and in fact does switch in the Moltres, so we nail this defensive monster, like this defensive pain in the ass with the Toxic, so it gets worn down more and more. And once again, I do go into my Tornadus to try to sponge some hits, as we do see here that he does fire off the Flamethrower. And now, same logic as before, I do click the U-turn button again, once again, because Jolteon is a relatively free switch into this. So I do click U-turn here. Even if he does attack just what's in front of him and doesn't switch out, I know that I can survive any one hit and then attack back with a really, really powerful Thunderbolt. As we do see here, I do switch out into the Jolteon, and CMR fires off a Hurricane and unfortunately misses again. So again, I was guaranteed to live that hit, obviously, and I'm guaranteed to live the Flamethrower after, like in this situation. Not necessarily if he hit the Hurricane, but what does matter here is, even if he did hit the Hurricane, I'd be at a low amount of health, but what does matter here is, since he is max physically defensive, my Thunderbolt does a minimum of 75% to max HP Moltres. So Thunderbolt is 100% free here. So I guess you can kind of say the Hurricane miss didn't really matter in this turn anyways. So he does switch into the Porygon 2 to get, once again, a free switch in. So, but again, like, I'm not worried about this Porygon 2 at all. I can just click sub in front of this in case he does have Toxic as his last move for whatever reason. But like we see here, he actually fires off the Ice Beam, which actually only a max roll could break my sub, so that's still fine. Again, I'm going to Baton Pass here, and I do decide to go into my Azumarill here, because if I went into Gallade, like, it was pretty much revealed that I don't have close combat since I went for Drain Punch on the Porygon anyways, so I decided to, like, you know what, like, looking at the rest of this team, this Porygon is definitely the thing that is best suited to for my Azumarill to set up Power Punches on. CMR does click the Ice Beam button and breaks my sub, which is fine. So I am just free to click the Power Punch button here. Even if he does have Thunder Wave, I do have the Lumberry to heal, but unfortunately he crits me with Discharge. And so you can argue about, like, what hacks matters most, like depending on the situation. I would say arguably this does matter the most because Discharge easily kills me now. Like otherwise it wasn't a 2-hit KO. However, I don't really have a right to complain because he did miss 2 Hurricanes against me. And again, you could argue, you know, like Hurricane has a 30% chance to miss. Like you could always run Air Slash instead or something like that. But again, I can't complain because he did, like, regardless of the situation of the Hurricane misses, he still did miss 2 Hurricanes. So 1 crit sort of balances them out. But either way, looking like now that I got crit, my Azumarill's looking not that great. So I am gonna fire off a liquidation just to get as much damage off on this, Porygon as I can. Because if I just like kind of do nothing or switch out and he clicks recover, it'll be really annoying. So I do just click the liquidation button here, get a nice chunk of damage off, and he actually goes for Shadow Ball instead of Discharge. So he was like really concerned about giving my I fast forward a little too much, but I mean it was kind of obvious. He was really concerned about not giving my Jolteon a free switch in, which I'm not really too sure. Like I would have just attacked what's in front of him. But either way, with the Shadow Ball with the Shadow Ball click, my Azumarill does get a kill here with Power Punch, as it could still guaranteed kill and set up for a more powerful Aqua Jet afterwards. Because now that my Azumarill's at this much HP, it's really not doing anything. I'm very surprised CMR didn't go into his Mega Medicham to try to pick me off with either Fake Out or Bullet Punch, depending on which one he has. But I mean that's okay with me. Unfortunately, I have a relatively speedy Skarmory. So, and I have a relatively speedy Skarmory, which is actually faster than my Azumarill is, and his Uxie moved before my Skarmory did. So I know this Uxie is actually faster than Azumarill. So unfortunately, to get off damage, I do have to click Aqua Jet here, but it's still a very good chunk since he is not Fizz Def at all. So he does click the Psychic button here, my Azumarill goes down, but that's okay because my other bunny is looking super good here. If everything goes right, Return claims the kill here because he either sacks off the Uxie or his Moltres at the range he's at is in range of two returns. 2 returns does 78 min. So like barring flame body triggers, barring flame body triggers, return netted be a kill there. So my Diggersby looks set to put in tons of work right now because looking at this, once again, I do decide to pivot out into my Jolteon because again, like granted with the Hurricane miss before, I am able to pivot into Jolteon now to take the incoming, what I can assume to be Flamethrower, because I don't know if he wants to risk Hurricane again. So unfortunately, I do live on 3. So I mean, like, I guess that Hurricane miss kind of matters because then I'm more willing to risk the Jolteon here, even though I do know that it can live. What this does mean is, once again, I'm very free to fire off a Thunderbolt. It kills this or gets damage off on something else. He makes a good play in going into his Muck. As he reveals that he is 100% max HP Assault Vest with a little bit more bulk, and I do get the para, but I mean, like, Muck's really slow anyways. The only time it would really matter is if he, it would really matter here is if he like just gets fully parried, but even then I'm not doing too much because I don't have enough HP to set up a sub. And honestly, right here, like, there's no other play for CMR to make other than Pursuit. So I do click the Thunderbolt button just to get off a little bit of, like, last-ditch effort chip damage. So unfortunately, my Jolteon does go down, but that's okay because Jolteon put in a ton of work. And now, like, the end game is already in sight because, like, again, look at his team and look at Scarf Diggersby right now. It actually goes to town. As, once again, same logic, return nets a kill here. CMR goes into his Mega Medicham. Skarmory's doing nothing for me at this point, so I do decide to sack it off. And yeah, once again, like, again, I see the end game in sight. I can win with my Torn and my Diggersby as long as I keep my Torn healthy. I have to keep it above 59% in order for Fake Out plus Bullet Punch to not be able to kill my Tornadus, and then I'll be able to fire off a Hurricane. I thought a lot about this turn here because this was the turn that really the end game needed to sink in, and I needed to like really start thinking. And then also there was the chance that if he is Jolly, High Jump Kick does oh my god, words, Brandon, words. High Jump Kick, if he is Jolly, is not a guaranteed kill from here. There is a chance for me to survive. So basically, my thought is, what is the best move to click in case I do survive? In the end, I decided to go Spikes because if he stays in to click High Jump Kick and kills me, and I just, or if he stays in the click, high jump kick me, I live and I click roost. It's just like, it's just a wasted turn realistically. So I do click spikes here because even if he does like not want to risk the high jump kick miss, then and he switches out directly into his Moltres to try to defog the spike away, then I can always on his defog, he either defogs or attacks, and either way I click roost then, because if he attacks then I die, and then I can go into Diggersby to pressure him out, or even to Gallade or something like that. I can always offensively pressure Moltres out after, and then if he does defog, then I go to roost and then spam spikes until I die, basically. So either way, I click spikes, but all that thought's for nothing because my jump kick does actually kill me, which is fine. But that's okay because now, like look at the situation. If there was ever a turn to click Z Hurricane, it is 100% right now, and this is where I could definitely see the end game site. I go for the Z Hurricane. It cleanly knocks out this Moltres, and the Moltres goes down. And he hasn't brought out the Tapu Koko the entire game. So now looking at it, like, Gallade is 100% my sack here, but this has to be a set of Koko, because in all of my mocks and even just like upon team preview, like, it's very clear that every time CMR sends in a Tapu Koko against me, like after I kill something, it either gets a kill or nets momentum. So the fact that all those times when I killed the Yuxi, the Porygon, and the Muck that he didn't bring in the Tapu Koko, that just has to mean he has some sort of setup. So now this is where the end game really comes in. I click Earthquake here in case something funky happens, but he is specs, like, he's basically specs Koko at +1. He cannot kill my Diggersby from here. Like, it's not like there's no roll that can do it with Dazzling Gleam or Hidden Power Ice. He's not Z Koko, he can't be. So basically what it comes down to is even if he is Shuckaberry, I can still click Earthquake. He can't kill me with Dazzling Gleam or Hidden Power Ice, whichever one he goes for. And then my Diggersby can kill with 2 Earthquakes, and then at that point, I don't know. I think, yeah, Metacham would have been able to pick me off with a priority move if he had it. So then it would all come down to Tornadus hitting a Hurricane. So either way, I had the end game in sight. I could see it there. I could see it happening, and I clicked the Earthquake button, and he goes for Calm Mind instead. What? I was so happy once I saw the Calm Mind, because that means my Diggersby does not have to take damage against this Tapu Koko. It can just kill with return. So he goes for Dazzling Gleam and kills my Mega Gallade. I go into Diggersby and lock myself into return. It's a guaranteed kill and gets slightly more damage on the Mega Metacham if he brings it out. So down goes the Tapu Koko. He sends in the Mega Metacham. Doesn't actually click the priority move, so that is huge because then I can get tons of damage off of this onto this Metacham. He kills me with Ice Punch, but that doesn't matter because this Metacham is in range of a U-turn from my Tornado, so I don't have to risk the Hurricane miss. And ladies and gentlemen, the Toronto Razor Leafs are the Season 2 UPA D-League champions, and holy crap, what a game. What a game, CMR. The greatest of games to you, sir. Yeah, oh my god, I am so happy that we won a championship. Not only that, but we did clinch a promotion spot to the UPA main league for next season, which will be starting up in January, and I will 100% be playing, and I will 100% be uploading that league. So, oh, that was such a game. Again, I cannot wish any greater game to CMR. That game was definitely finals worthy. And yeah, like I'm just like so like speechless. I guess I should do okay, I won't do thank yous because I do plan to do a season recap after this, so I guess I'll get my thank yous out of the way there. But yeah, I guess just I don't even know what to say. I'm so happy. But yeah, so just thanks to everyone for like watching. I am like so happy that I can like provide some sort of entertaining content for some people. But yeah, and then obviously thanks to all the admins for letting me in, and thanks to all the the D-League coaches for providing great competition this season. Like, this was a really good D-League, and I have to say, now that I've seen the lineup for next UPA season, holy crap, that is going to be some kind of stacked lineup. But anyways, yeah. So again, that'll be it for D-League or UPA D-League Season 2. We did win. We will go to UPA main. I'm fucking rambling. I need to shut up. Keep your eye. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow. No, I'll probably upload it next week. I will be doing my season recap of UPA D-League. So yeah, keep your guys' eyes out for that. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.